Hi everyone.
Hi, I'm Bram.
My name is Steven. So Bram, what are we going to talk about today?
Another playwright little tidbit.
Okay.
I needed a lot of test data the other day.
As we do all.
As we do all, and I didn't have time to be really. I couldn't get it done in time.
Yeah.
That's what we
Always
have, right?
Always difficult to get realistic
data. Good test data, and I just wanted to populate some fields with some data.
Yeah.
Where do you go from there?
I hope you have a solution for this problem.
I did. I found a very nice NPM package in this case.
Okay.
It has a lot of different flavors. It's called Faker, and they got me at the catchphrase: generate massive amounts of fake but realistic data for testing and development. And I was
sounds promising.
I was really happy with this. So I'm going to show you a little bit what I tried to do. Okay. This is a bad playwright test. People don't do this at home. Demo purposes again, you know, all the things. So basically what this is a little test, and I wanted to show you what you could do with a locator. Okay. But I'm going to comment it out because we're going to put everything to the console because it will get the point across. Okay. So
your test is just just faking some test data, and at the end you're publishing those information to the console so we can see what kind of data generates.
So for example, if I just dive into this one a little bit, there's a text box. Apparently there's a text box on my page with the name voornaam, which is Dutch, sorry, and I need to populate it, and normally I would put in something in
Bram,
here,
and
Bram or Steven,
and everyone's who's Bram.
Exactly. So now I messed up my test data. So I would put in something in here, right?
Yeah.
But then again, if I want to repeat my tests and I keep my same data, but not all that good test stuff, then it gets a bit. There's problems.
Yeah.
Just put it like that. We'll get into that
another time. We've all been with those problems.
Yeah. So the better thing to do is to generate your test data or get it from a source. That's complicated, and then enter Faker, which is really easy. I just install Faker with one little command.
Simple npm package.
It's verified, vetted, everything. I import it in
inside your spec file.
In my spec file, and that's it.
Okay.
I put it on Dutch.
Yeah, so you can also say what kind of sort of.
There's a lot of locales.
Okay.
Check the npm registry. Check GitHub. There's a lot for you.
That's great, by the way, that it's also localized, because even if you could find something like, oh, this helps me with test data, then it's great. This English, and our business is Dutch, so we're still
take phone numbers, for example.
Yeah, and the date and times are also different in different cultures.
Exactly. So what I did,
really great.
So what I did here was I just defined some constants with a faker.
Yeah.
And in this case, I put in the first name, the last name, and birth date.
So the person object is something that Faker really provides. Yeah. So it says, okay, if you want person information, then you go to this person, and then you can have some properties.
Exactly.
Okay, Bram, so you're running that test. I see it succeeded, passed.
It succeeded, yeah.
So if we go take a look at the logging, and can you tell me what we're seeing?
Yeah, we specified the voornaam. And Tom is a little bit international, but it could also be Dutch. But Hartman is really Dutch, and that's your localization for you. And you can see it in the telephone number, especially. This is a Dutch number for international viewers. Trust me, this is a Dutch number. And the good thing is, if I rerun this test, I should get different data. And that's the
key part.
That's the key part. So you want to test, most of the time you want to test two things. Does it work? And does it work with changing data? Because, we've all seen this.
Data issues are a very common problem when we're encountering bugs.
Exactly. And there's a lot of things you can do. and it has
way more Dutch than last name De Ruiter is not going to happen.
No, that's that's really
but
Dutch.
I'm also, if I'm looking at the birth date, you see that it's year, month, day.
Yeah.
So that's how we present our birthdays.
Yeah, exactly.
I think in the US they're doing day and month
reversed. Yeah,
that's nice to see.
It takes
especially because if that was the case, this would fail because 22 is not a valid month, but only a valid day. So
exactly.
That's very
so
cool.
that's
cool to see.
It's smart. It's smart about that. Indeed. And then there's you can do even better because while this is nice and all, you could also say, okay, I don't want to specify everything all the time. I just want a random user.
Oh. Okay.
So if I run this, it should be the same. I just commented out everything else. And if I run this test, it says, there you go. This is a different user. And I generate another one.
And again, a different user.
Getting a different one. So what I did here was, and please don't judge me on my coding. I'm a tester. This is my function, create random user, and it uses the faker
so
library.
If you have very specific needs, not entities that Faker already provides, you can also go into their tooling to get those information.
Exactly. So you can make basically a model. As your developer gives you a model, this is supposed to look like this, and you make a Faker user out of it. You have to be careful because then you have to take out if you fill it in your locators, you still have to do stuff like random, voornaam.
Yeah, exactly. But so it's very nice you can really tailor your fake test data to your own entities and your own domain. So
exactly,
it really matches.
And mix and match, so it will make your tests less prone to break. Or you can just change everything on one place.
Hopefully it does break and then you can fix it because there may be an issue.
That's very true. And then there's a lot of different things that Faker can do for you. Name and last name you saw, and dates, and but there's even more. Check out the GitHub because it's all in there.
Yeah. So they have an entire list on their GitHub with what kind of properties and what kind of entities they provide.
Exactly.
Okay.
And there's really a lot, and then you can customize them yourself or add to them. For example, this is just a few little tidbits. This does the birth date we just saw just yet, but you can add properties. Okay, the minimum age is 18, the maximum age is 65, or
present. So that way you can also customize it for example for edge case testing. So if you have a form and people need to be at least 18 years old, you can make a test with max age 17, and you can see if it should trigger that warning. Hey, you must be at least 18 years old.
Something with driver licenses, for example. And you just touched upon the birth date. We had the Dutch format.
Yeah, the formatting.
Well, you can do ISO to ISO or whatever you would like.
Customize them based on what you need.
And then another nice thing is that you can add your own elements or arrays. Sometimes you have a drop down with specific values that are for your specific domain.
Yeah.
So you don't have a magic list of fruits in this case. Fruits. Well, fruits I might have, but in this case, say I have to do something with fruits, and I can just define an array, and I can go like, hey, give me a random fruit. And in this time I got a date. I think that's the wrong spelling. Or a fig, or whatever you like. It only takes that from this array. I think it's date with D-A-D-E.
Yeah, I think it's well. But at least it's working like you designed it.
It works as intended. Might be a bug still, but it's working as intended.
Okay.
And then there's even more good stuff. IBAN numbers.
Very complicated.
Very complicated. I always need to look them up.
Or you use your own because that's the only one you know out of the top of your head. That's
which is
complicated.
Bad practice. Don't do this at home. And like you said, you can just extend it from the plain old vanilla one to formatted or with a country code that is specific for your needs. And this just works out of the box.
That's very awesome because finding a Dutch IBAN that's not my own, I could manage, but from another country, and you're going in another rabbit hole. So that's great.
It's really hard, and they like to have a little bit fun as well, because there's I'm going to comment this out for a little bit. They have a hacker one, and just had heaps of fun with this. So the English is a bit weird. If we reboot the array, we can get into the hack spiral. Yeah, it's a bit weird.
For American TV shows that want to sound very intelligent.
And then sometimes you don't need random data, but you need fixed data.
Yeah.
You can do the thing we used to do, just fill in what you want to see every time again.
Yeah.
So define your constants.
Strings or constants. Okay. You don't want that.
You don't want that. So what Faker does provide that in that as well. They have something called a seed.
Okay.
And I put in this one I already tested, so I'll put it like that. It's the hacker one. Come on.
Yeah.
And what this does is it will generate once, and it remembers the seed. So it will remember the output.
So it will connect the seed to the output. So
exactly.
if you run it again with the same seed, you get
the same result. So it says something about generating the digital XML bus, which is a bit weird, but still. And if I run it again, get the same thing.
Same thing. And that's great, especially for your more integration tests where you have a larger flow and you want to see if the information at the beginning is the same as the information at the end.
Yep.
Then you can use that seed.
You can use the seed, and then you don't have to change the way you do things. You don't have to define it to a specific string.
Yeah, you don't have to go around finding workarounds for it.
And then you go like, okay, for one hacker phrase, that's a bit in the middle. But if you have large structures of data, this will help you out tremendously. So that's
what I really like is if you have an application or a situation where you, for example, multi-language, you can also very easily test that using this.
Yeah.
Because you can just switch between two locals and make sure that your application works both in Dutch and in English.
Exactly, and like we saw in a previous talk, you can do your configuration in your test or in your describe log.
That's very awesome indeed.
So you can put everything on English, and for this step, put it in Dutch, and then
that's great. That looks very promising.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time. Give them. We'll put the links in the description.
Yeah,
it's a really nice little thing to have in your toolbox.
Yeah, very, very, very true.
So,
great.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.